All right. So this morning, God spoke to me and he wants me because he was holding back of the 2024 prophecy, probably waiting for me to get my act together, right? Right. But it had to happen the way that he did because of what he's doing. So it's 2024 prophecy is about what is to come, what God has for us, what he's calling uh his people to do, also events of the world and things happening around the world. And it's a lot of things that he already spoke. This morning he put me through this 2024 and he made me go back in time to old prophecies that had yet to be fulfilled. And he was telling me they're coming to pass now, 5 of them. 5 prophecies from 2013, 2003 or 5. Yeah, 15, 13, and 15, 13, and 3 are the years of prophecies that he had me write down and been waiting for it to come to pass. Well, it's going to start to come to pass now. So before I get started, God is asking us, what direction is God taking us in 2024? What is God expecting of us? What will 2024 bring? Okay. There's going to be a lot of, first, the earth. Okay. So the things that I've seen about the earth is going to just get worse. Where there is light, there will be darkness. Where there's what is dry will be wet. What is wet will be dry. And guess what else he's adding to that, which he saw me? It's like, what was dry will be wet. What is wet will be dry, and it'll be moved by the wind. That means God's going to move it a certain way. That means if there's fire, it's going to be serious fire. Yeah. If there's flooding, it's going to be some serious flooding. That means he's going to move these things. Yeah. And so it's something that we have to see for ourselves, for people who are in certain areas. It's just going to kind of get a little bit worse when it comes to the weather, when it comes to dealing more of the same, but worse. Yeah, the world is being turned upside down by creation. It says, what is wet will be dry, what is dry will be wet. Fire and water move by my hand, the winds. Yeah, through the winds. Yeah, to confound the wise, to bring to nothing the things that are, because we hold ourselves to subject to satellite images and whatever. God's just going to turn all of that upside down. It's like no matter what mankind does to foresee issues, the issue gonna come without them knowing. It's like going to hit them from the left field. They didn't know, or they kind of, but they didn't, and they did nothing about it, and then boom, here it is, right? So we're going to be having a lot of those things happening or starting to happen in 2024 when it comes to the weather. I not only that, I started to see a lot of like, okay, I don't want to call it hell, but it was like rocks falling from the sky kind of thing, so it could be hail, it could be freaking rocks, well, I know, right? Stuff falling from the sky. So whatever God's going to do, so the heavens is going to be shaken too. It's like the cosmos, that it's going to all be shaken up. And that's something that we've been waiting for. We've been seeing already things falling from the sky. I bet you he's going to start knocking on satellite, crashing to the ground. Yeah, with a finger of his hand. Yeah, crash to the ground, because I wouldn't doubt that that's going to start happening. Because when mankind starts thinking that they can control atmosphere and stuff like that, yeah, God proves everybody wrong. So, so the skies will testify. There was something I saw a couple of weeks ago. I forgot to write it down, but this morning when I was writing this down, he actually reminded me and what it was, and I wrote this down. The skies will testify. How will the skies testify? For the signs will be clear for all to see. Climate changes, of course, bring catastrophe. Something is there's going to be the clashings, and that's what it is. Do you know how it gets when, two opposite forces crash into each other? Like when you have when two currents hit each other, it's going to be like that. It's opposing forces that are going to clash. And that's the kind of stuff you got to watch. Opposing forces, wind, yeah, going in one direction, the other direction, but they're going to clash. It seems like everything's going to happen and then clash. Tornadoes, everything, and then they're going to clash and everything. Watch this. There's going to be a clashing of the elements. And that's something that we all have to watch, for us, right? The signs will be written in the heavens for all to see. Okay. So what's going to happen with the nations? The nations are a part of that, because it's the anger of the nations. I didn't know what that was. I heard the voice that said the anger of the nations. I put question marks on it because I was like, what does this mean? The anger of the nations. In other words, when I said, what does this mean? The anger, you know what I saw? Exploding bombs. So I wouldn't doubt that somebody gonna be shooting upon us. You know, it's coming. If not on us, on other countries. It's like they're bombing each other. We already see it in what's happening in Ukraine with Russia. We see what's happening in Israel with Hamas. Bombs flying all over the place, right? Wait, it's coming our way. It's coming our way. And that's something that we have to see, because it was the prophecy that he reminded me. I had this prophecy in 2003, in June of 2003. I wrote it in June of 2003 on the website with the prophecies. And I brought my thing because I'm going to read it to you folks and tell you guys what it says, because here it is. Where is my 2003? Going back over. Wait, I'm already at 2014. Come on, come on. Slow, slow. Come on. Oh, here we go. All right. So the first one is 2013, because of what he's talking about countries. For those of you, it's on the website. You know, they're the prophecies. He made me stop at 2016. I stopped at 216. He made me stop because people were getting too involved. Do you know on the internet, they were arguing about my prophecies? Holy hell, right? If you don't know what I'm saying, don't argue for me, okay? It was like that. I was like, hold on, look at these guys. They're arguing. But it wasn't so much about the prophecy. It was about the person speaking, if I was true or not. Those bastards, okay? They don't know me. Anyway, in 2003, I had a vision. And here's what it's written. It says 2003 of June. It's called the China Merge. I called it the China Merge. That's the only thing I could think, okay? This one he brought me to in remembrance because of what he's saying in the prophecy about the nations, okay? So listen to the vision. It says, I'm standing in a very large banquet hall when I notice that everyone is separated. To my left and to my right, everybody's separated. No one stands in the middle to mingle with one another. Everybody's up against the walls in their own little cliques, and I'm standing in the middle of this whole ballroom, okay, in this whole thing, right? They are all standing on their own sides of the room and eating from their own buffet table that stretches the length of the room. So everybody's against the wall, and there's buffet tables, and they're only eating from their section where the table is, right? So they're eating their own food. They're not mingling, they're not sharing, they're not going to somebody else's space. They stay right where they're at, against the wall, in their own food, eating their own thing, okay? I don't want. When I look to my right, I see a man with his back towards me, grabbing food from the table. His uniform that he is wearing looks familiar, but I cannot place it. Suddenly, he turns around, and I realize that it is a man that is wearing a uniform of a man named Mao Tse-tung. I don't know who that is, but hey, I gotta look it up. It's been years, okay? Mao Tse-tung. Mao Se-tung. Whatever. It is a kind of olive green garb color. He is wearing a head covering of sort, and there is a red crest or symbol on the center front of his hat. His shirt is buttoned all the way to his neck. Okay. Then, and this guy is on my right. Then when I look to my left, I see a woman. She is dressed in what looks like a black silk oriental dress with slits in the sides of up the sides of her thighs. The dress goes long as her knees. Her hair is nested upon her head with hair chopsticks, holding her hair in a bun. Suddenly, she turns around and she's holding a cigarette with a cigarette holder in her hand with the cigarette is lit. And they both look at each other. And I'm watching this unfold. And I'm watching that man and that woman look at each other. And I'm standing in the middle of the room watching this, okay? Yeah, freaking God. Yeah. Then I noticed they start to walk towards one another, but I noticed that no one would dare go before them. It's like they're walking and no one is stepping in, nobody is crossing their boundaries. It's like these two people are walking, no one would dare walk before them. So when this man took a step, then the people who stood behind him took a step. When the woman took a step, the people behind her took a step. Like nobody took a step until these people took a step. It's kind of like that. So they're following in their footsteps kind of thing, right? So when this man took a step, the people took a step, but they never stood beside him or went before him, they stood behind him. So he was leading them, leading their steps. Yeah, leading their, in other words, right? Then no one would walk beside her either, or before her, but would move as she moved also. As they got closer to each other, they just stared at one another. I'm standing there and I'm looking at them just staring at one another, right? Not taking their eyes off of each other, just watching each other. And I noticed the mistrust in their eyes. There's mistrust. I said, I can feel the mistrust going on. When they both stopped in front of me in the middle, because I was standing in the middle, they both stood in front of me in the middle of the floor. They both reached out a right hand to shake. Yeah. As if coming into an agreement for something. Yeah. Something. Suddenly, everyone that was standing on either side against the walls started to mingle together as if there was peace, a peace agreement between them, between the two of them. Stop. And that was the end of my vision. I had some major ones. Okay. So in this one, I'm assuming China and Taiwan, these two. Okay. And right now they're separate. And the countries are separate. And they're hiding back. But no one's going to make a move unless the leaders make a move. Yeah. And little by little, they're moving closer to something that God is seeing, moving closer to something, but there still isn't peace. There's still mistrust. Yeah. There's still this division. So they're getting closer to each other, but they haven't quite met. There's mistrust between the two. And of course, right? China wants to take Taiwan. I think it's Taiwan, right? Yeah. Am I right? Okay. I don't freaking watch the news. Okay. So they want to take Taiwan. America is backing Taiwan, supporting Taiwan, right? Supporting Taiwan. So it's kind of like this kind of thing going on. Anyway, but it looks like they're going to settle, even in the mistrust. Even in the mistrust. So this is something that God is saying is going to come to pass. I don't believe there's going to be war between the two, but I do believe there's going to be a mistrust, but an agreement anyway. There's going to be an agreement anyway. Freaking God, right? Of course. The next one, this is the China merge, the one, yeah? In 2013, because we are talking about the prophecies that are about to come to pass. In 2013, I had another vision. I got to get there. 2013. I called this one Unnecessary Deaths Will Continue. Unnecessary deaths. Well, I put around the world here. It is a vision that I had. And here's what it says. 2013, right? This is 2003. Yes, it is. Okay. Unnecessary deaths around the world. Here we go. In the vision. This is going to continue. This is something that's going to start coming to pass and has already started. It says, in this vision, I am watching as people are killing each other. They are using all kinds of means to do harm to others. I see people shooting at each other. I see people stabbing each other. I see people use what looks like swords and machetes to kill each other. Yeah, kill each other. As I watched, my heart broke. It felt like men have disregarded life, that life means nothing anymore. As I watched, more and more people showed up on the streets, and I was not standing in the street. Wait. More and more people showed up on the street. I was not standing in, and they were killing each other. I started to yell for them to stop, but none heard me, and I came to myself. So God says, I am believing that the people will start to disregard life. Disregard life. 2013. I believe God is saying we will start to disregard life as a disposable thing. I believe that the angers, hatreds, prejudices of others will drive these to harm each other. I believe that people will not be able to help themselves. They can't seem to stop themselves from harming the thing that upsets them the most. It is as if they are blind to what they are doing, deaf to consciousness. Nothing can stop them from doing what they feel they have to do to stop their own tortures. Yeah. All right. So that means, so what's happening here is God was saying in this region, he was saying that it's going to come a time where people are going to use their own hurts, pains, and suffering and take it out on everybody else. And so this has already started. We're having a lot of deaths, a lot of turmoil, and people are taking out all their frustrations, all their angers, all their rages, all their prejudices on each other. And they don't care. There's no consciousness or awareness because they're only standing in what they think is right within themselves. Yeah, because it's their truth, their understanding, their frustrations. There's going to be a lot of this. It has already started. It has already started, but 2024 is going to amplify it. There is going to be an amplification, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. It's like people are just not caring for life, not their own and not somebody else's. It's like they're losing an awareness of that in them. Just anger, rages, and blindness. And let me tell you, this is not of God. This whole thing, this is an adversary type of spirit, right? Where people come against each other and tear each other down and kill each other. So this is something more that's going to be happening also, yeah, in 2024. The next one, should I do the other 2013, or am I going in order? I don't know, Lord. Okay, 2015. In 2015, I have 3 that he pointed out. Okay, don't even ask me why, okay? Because he does what he does, okay? In 2015 is this one. It's called, where is it? A Dictator Rises. 2015. Now, a dictator rises in the east to control all who follow him. So in 2015, when I had this vision, the dictator himself, or whoever this person is, and I say East because he looked Oriental Asian. Yeah, okay, forgive me. Ujimori, Japanese, look Howley. So everybody kind of look at, I cannot distinguish nationalities because, hey, that's not my thing, okay? So it's that way because of the features that show me that kind of thing. So please, no letters. Okay. So anyway, so what's happening is the dictator is right. The dictator. So this dictator with this Oriental type of features, yeah, or Asian type of features, is going to try to control his whole greater than him. In other words, he's going to try to control other nations or he's going to try to have, what is that thing? He's going to try to have, control isn't the thing. He's going to try to have power in some way over them because that's control, but it's actually power. It's authority. He's going to take authority. He's going to take authority. And by taking authority, he's going to take their country. And I don't mean literally taking the country, but he's going to take control of it. He's going to have say in the way they dictate, the way they move their money, the way everything. Yeah. And if he doesn't say, he's going to tear them down, or they're going to suffer because they refuse to be one with this dictator, or the one who's trying to control. Yeah. The dictator is about the all power. Yeah. The one who wants to control and dictate everybody's motions. This is going to happen. I think it's already happening. Yeah. I think it's already happening. Feels like it, that someone else is in control, pushing the buttons, right? Pushing the button. But there's going to be an exposure of this. Everybody's going to see it. So everybody's going to come to know it. Control, yeah? All who follow him, because it's not because they follow him because they believe. They're going to follow him because he's insane. It's like the power. He's going to force them into a place of submission to do his will. And this, I don't know why I got this in 2015, but it's happening in our own freaking country. You know what I mean? Hasn't been solidified yet, but it's also happening across the world. And this is happening too. So we must be aware of the dictator that rises. Yeah. Because it's all about control, all about power, right? Power and control. Watch, because it's going to start to control the way we are doing things. And there's another thing he just reminded me that I forgot to write it down. Watch your money. Money is going to be an issue next year, 2024. Money going to be an issue. 401k, why? Because some going to be shutting down. Stock markets are going to get bad. Banks are going to shut down. Some people are going to lose money. So I don't know. I leave that with you guys. Be aware of that. If you do the stock market, if you play with that kind of stuff, right? It's something that we got to see. So he reminded me. So it's like that. So watch your money. Yeah, watch your money. You trust in it, you're gonna lose it. That's the whole thing. If you trust in it, you're gonna lose it because whatever God is doing, it's necessary because money is the root of many evils. And the evils are expressing themselves already because of the money. Yeah, because of the money. That's why the dictator, it's all about the money, right? All about the money. Gotta watch that. Okay. Another one in 2015. 15, where hatred and anger, a driving force. That's the title. That's what I call it. Hatred and anger is a driving force. All people will be driven to madness. Are we not already? All people will be driven to madness, unable to control themselves. This is in 2015. Do I, have the exact date? No, I just said 2015. See, that's what happens. Okay. Probably because I wrote it after that day. Yeah, and forgot to write the exact day. But no, all the other ones have exact dates. Okay. The people will be driven to madness, unable to control themselves. They will harm the innocent without a second thought. They will abuse the elderly as well as the young without consciousness. They will be driven by an uncontrollable, unquenchable force that will make them do what they would never do when they were in the light. So that means Christians are going to start falling away and fall into deception, deceits, yeah, their own madness, their own delusions. They're going to fall into that place. And this is about the world, yeah, but it's about people who say that they know God. And that's the whole thing, because they do it. They were not doing it when they were in the light. And now God is exposing that they are no longer in the light. They are no longer in the light. So be watchful that 2024 is about exposure too. It's going to expose your lies and deceits. Yeah. You keep telling yourself a certain thing, a certain way, a certain walk with God. He's going to show you it's not true. It's not true. Time and time again. I want to tell you something, a truth. He's been already telling you that and you're not listening because you refuse to believe it. You refuse to believe it. You refuse to believe that you are wrong. You refuse to believe that you do not understand. You refuse to believe that you're not serving God. That's the lie. Because if you look at the light, you look at the worry, you look at the concerns, you look at those things, you're already in your lie. Because you refuse to see those things as a testament against you. Watch, therefore, because when you're in the light, it wasn't like that. Now you've gone a lot further, and yeah. It will be as if they are possessed. It's as if people in the church are possessed, and the people in our country are possessed. They can't help themselves. Yeah, they can't help it. They cannot. They become blind in rage, blind in doubt, blind in sadness, blind in fear, blind. And the blindness is as if they're possessed. They don't even see themselves, know themselves anymore, yet they proclaim something that they do not have. Yeah. And when caught, they will not see the errors of their ways. When pointed out, when your errors are pointed out, when your deceptions and delusions are pointed out, you're not even going to believe it. You're going to believe that you have been right all this time and that you always was it. And you're going to believe it. You're going to tell yourself, you're going to believe the lie because you are blind to the truth. You cannot see the truth. Yeah. You have no awareness of it because you are ensnared by that darkness. That's sad that Christians are going to fall into that. They can't even see when they hurt their brother. They cannot see when they condemn somebody else, when they judge someone. They can't see that they themselves are falling into judgment, and that's darkness. And they can't see it because they're self-righteous. They in their own eyes, right? That's sad. And that's something you got to watch. I believe that this has a lot to do with the great darkness that is coming. And it's going to be a great darkness. We'll get to that next one. When the darkness befalls America. That actually was in 2015. That's the actual title. Yeah. I believe that this has a lot to do with the great darkness that is coming. I believe that this darkness will bring out of the people the very thing they hide within. God is going to expose you. Exposure is going to be the key to deliverance or breaking. It'll be your judgment. I believe that what they will do, the secret things they do for all to see, because they are dark. They are dark and they don't know it. Yeah. In 2015, there's another one, which is the last one I have written down. It's about the great darkness befalls America. Yeah, 2015 was a year for me. Let me tell you, right? Great darkness befalls America. And this is what he's been talking about from the beginning with me. In this vision, and this was a vision, I am above the earth. I am in the sky like that, like my picture. Yeah, I'm in the sky looking down. And I'm looking down and I'm floating in the clouds and I'm watching. Okay, nobody better ask me, are you dead or alive? That's not the point. Okay, the point is, this is a vision and I was taken and this is where I was. Okay, floating in the clouds. As I watch, I see what looks like dark clouds, just like a bad storm. Yeah, as if a storm is coming towards the continent of America. It's like it's just moving across the earth, but it's heading our way. Yeah, it's heading our way. It was a great storm cloud heading towards America, and it looked great in size to the continent of America. It was the size of the continent of America. It was that big and that that opaque. Yeah, it wasn't see-through clouds. It was like thick, you can't see through it kind of thing, right? And it looked greater than the size of America. And as I watched, the clouds started to cover the whole United States. But this cloud was not a real storm. And that's what I felt. Even though I saw it happening, it was not a real storm. It was a dark spiritual storm. It was a dark spiritual storm, and I knew it, and my vision ended. So I believe that the great darkness is about to come over America. This darkness is one that brings blindness, yeah, brings blindness with it, great blindness, yeah. It reminded me, and when I had this vision, it's like I was reminded, of the cloud of death that entered Egypt when Moses spoke of the firstborn death plague. This darkness will bring a cloud of blindness in heart, in soul, and in consciousness. I believe that it will make people blind to the things they do to one another. This darkness will amplify. It will amplify because it's a spiritual thing. They cannot control themselves. They cannot help themselves. It will amplify angers, hatreds, and prejudices. It will. This darkness will drive the sane to insanity and the wise to foolishness. Yeah. Man, aren't we already watching this happening? It's just the beginning, and it's only going to get worse. Only going to get. There was another one that I had that I stopped. I stopped because I hate that kind of predictions. I really do. Okay. But it was one that while reading this, he was reminding me. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. And he's saying, just say it. Yeah, just say it. Just say it. It's in 2015, and I called it, A Woman Will Lead Them. In this vision, I was watching the television. In this vision, the news was talking about the election of foreign countries, and they were saying that for the first time in all the country's history, that a woman had taken a position that had only been held by men before. It looked like the woman was either Korean or Japanese or Asian descent. Next, they went to another country to compare this trend that was happening. The next woman was they showed was a woman who looked like Eastern Indian, maybe. She had a cover over her head and glasses on and tan skin. They were saying that this was something that had never been seen before. Then I heard a voice say, it is time for a woman to lead. They will bring a concern for country that I have not seen in men for a long time. Yeah. So I believe that God is about to allow a woman, the women of the world, to start taking the place of authority for their countries, I believe that God is giving the world a chance to change. A chance to change through the feminine spirit of truth and love for one another. That's why the countries are falling apart. Honestly, men, they're not emotional. Women are emotional. We love, we feel. Men, they don't. It's all like, bully, right? Kind of like that. So I opened a word, and my word was in Isaiah 56. Isaiah 56. In Isaiah 56, in fact, I got 3 of them. Yeah, because that's freaking what all I do. Yeah. So in Isaiah 56, ow, my wrist. Ow. In Isaiah 50, what the hell's going on with my, oh, there it is. Okay, Isaiah 56. It's only the first 2 verses. Talks about the salvation for the Gentiles. It says, for thus says the Lord, keep justice and do righteousness. For my salvation is about to come, and my righteousness will be revealed. Blessed is the man who does this, and the son of man who lays hold on it, who keeps his from defiling the Sabbath, and keeps his hand from doing any evil. Because what's happening? So this is what God had told me last month. He was telling me, or could have been a few weeks ago. Anyway, he was telling me that there's going to be great darkness and exposure. But in spite of all of that darkness, in spite of all of that heaviness that the world is about to face, that our country is about to face, there's going to be light. There's going to be small, but strong light. Strong light, and they're going to rise up. They're going to rise up, and they're going to dissipate the darkness. So God is asking his people to serve, to keep what is right and what is good, what is right and what is good, because he has already shown us what is evil. And as it continues to unfold, he's asking those who understand the truth to rise up and to stand in a greater place. This 2024 for Christians is going to be the test of your belief in God. It is. It's going to be a trial that you have never faced before, because it's going to deal with the personal consciousness of your very soul. It's going to go straight to the heart of you. This is not about church. This is about the believer, because God needs believers to rise up, to stand in a greater place, to stand in the gap that no one else wants to. The churches aren't standing in there. They're going to be judged. Wait. I got one word for that one too, okay? And that's the whole thing. God is judging the house, but the people stand alone. We are judged based on our own consciousness and our own awareness. He's saying, keep your justice. I have shown you, keep your hands from doing any evil that makes you look like everybody else who falls into their evil, their prejudices, their angers, their hatred, their rages, their doubts, their fears. Don't fall into that, because you're going to look like everybody else. And when you start looking like everybody else, you cannot be a servant. And what you're going to lack is your salvation. It's a salvation to the Gentiles, to the believer, the one who's going to fight and stand up, because he has shown us what is right. He has shown us what to do. Micah, right? The second word I got, well, moving on in the same chapter, verse 6 and 7, he says, also, the sons of the foreigners who joined themselves with the Lord to serve him. Remember, I was talking about every individual. It's about not about understanding knowledge. It's about the union between you and God alone. This has to be your driving force, your relationship with God. Also, the sons of the foreigners will join themselves with the Lord to serve him, and to the Lord, and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servant, everyone who keeps from defiling the Sabbath. Even them I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices will be accepted on my altar. For my house shall be called the house of prayer for all nations. The Lord God, who gathers the outcasts of Israel, says, yet I will gather to him others beside those who are gathered to him. So in other words, what God is saying is he's going to call the foreigners. You know, all these people who say, Lord, Lord, who have churches and all that, God calling other people. Enough already. The house of God is supposed to be a house of prayer. It's a den of thieves. Right? So God is calling the believers, the one who walk in righteousness and truth, the one who will choose. And this is about choosing. Yeah. Who joined also the sons of a foreigner who joined themselves to the Lord to serve him. They choose to serve him. These are the ones God is going to move. These are the ones God is going to shine his light through. These are the ones he's calling for. Yeah, this year is going to be about choice. Either walk with God or don't walk with God. But you can't stand in the middle anymore. This lukewarmness, yeah, or this coldness. Laodicea, I'd rather you hot or cold. God don't like you in the middle. He's going to vomit you out. But let me tell you, cold is just as bad. Rejecting God, yeah, rejecting God, that's gold. That's gold, people. That's gold. Yeah, you got to watch that. That's something that, yeah. But those who choose, he gave me another word because I asked, so what about those who choose to serve and those who choose to walk? He gave me 1 Kings chapter 3, people. You got to hear this one. In 1 Kings chapter 3, this is what he said. In 1 Kings chapter 3, I ask, what about those who choose to serve you? Verse 5 to verse 13. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask. What shall I give you? Ask. Those who desire to serve has only need to ask, but the heart must follow. He says, Solomon said, because of the heart, this is why he could ask. And Solomon said, you have shown great mercy to your servant David, my father, because he walked before you in truth, in righteousness, and in uprightness of heart with you. You have continued this great kindness for him, and you have given him a son to sit on his throne as it is this day. Now, O Lord, my Lord God, you have made your servant king instead of my father David. But I am a little child. I am a little child. I do not know how to go out or come in. And your servant is in the midst of your people whom you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to be numbered or counted. Therefore, he says, therefore, give to your servant an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this great people of yours? The speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing, Then God said to him, because you have asked this thing, and have not asked long life for yourself, nor have asked riches for yourself, nor have asked the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to discern justness. Behold, I have done according to your word. See, I have given you a wise and understanding heart, so that there has not been anyone like you before, nor shall any like you arise after you. And I have also given you what you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be anyone like you among the kings all your days. Let's stop. So what God is saying is those he's calling, but those who choose to serve. This is about choosing to serve, because their desire is not for self. God, help me, I'm poor. Give me wealth. God, how many times have you guys prayed for health, wealth, peace, joy, love? All these things. This is all about you, people. All about you. Don't you get it? Because your heart is not after God's will for his people. It's after his will for you, what you think you can get, what you think you can have. This is the sad part. And yet God is calling those who see this, who understand that it's not about what you have and what you don't have. It's about the God that you are choosing to serve. And because of that, the one who has that heart, he says, ask. And yet, even if he gives that and says, ask me for anything, that person will always ask for him what you want, for your people, for your glory. So when we get into this place and we start asking, God, help me understand, God, help me know, it's only about you. That's why you're in the place that you're at. That's why you're struggling, because you haven't gotten to that place that it's not about you. You haven't gotten to that place. How can you serve God if you don't have that kind of heart? You can't. You can't. You can't. So I asked him for another word. I do this all the time to him, but he does it to me too. Okay. And he gave me Second Thessalonians. Boo! You guys better get your act together, because in Second Thessalonians chapter 2, my eyes landed on verse 7 to verse 10. Freaking God. Okay, listen to this. He says, why is it like this? This is me. Why? He says, for the mystery of lawlessness is already at work in their lives. Already at work. Only he who now restrains, will do so until he is taken out of the way. Yeah? And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will consume with the breath of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. And the coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteousness, all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Holy shit. God is calling his people out. Enough. Enough. Know the truth. Walk in that truth. Believe in that truth. And follow that truth. You cannot, don't be waiting for someone to call you. There should be a burn that says, I want to do this for God. God deserves no less. Yeah. Look at this world. The world needs light. So he needs volunteers. He don't need people saying, I'm going to make you, I'm going to make you. And then, infect the will of God. He needs people to stand up and say, I will go, like Isaiah did. I will go, like John did in Revelation. I will go, like Elijah did. All of us got to understand that this walk we got is a choice. And in 2024, there's so much things so much darkness is going to happen. Read the freaking news. I don't like reading the news. I try to stay away from it because it troubles me. It troubles my heart to see such pain and suffering and blindness and darkness. Now, imagine how I feel in my own house when I see the same thing, because I cannot change it. I cannot change what's happening in the world. Only he can. And I cannot change what's happening in the lives of the people in this ministry. Only he can. But it all starts with choice. Choosing to stand on the side of righteousness and good, that he may be glorified and he can save his people. You have to have that in you. And if it's not in you, you cannot get it because you asked for it. You have to live it. And he will provide it. You have to be in it. You cannot ask for it because you're not going to get it, because asking for it is already saying you're on the wrong side of this glory. You understand that? You are on the wrong freaking side. When you start asking for worldly stuff, when you start asking for human nature stuff, because you cannot trust in God. Everybody's relationship with God, God is bringing it to the forefront. He's going to make you question it. Yeah. 2024 is going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. And let me tell you, he's going to call you out. He's going to call you out. He's making me do that because it has to change enough. He needs servants. He needs people willing to serve, choosing to serve, and willing to suffer for it, just like our Lord. And if you're not one of them, and you're not willing to rise up, and you're not willing to step out, and you're not willing, but you want to sit in the pews and receive, take, without standing in it, you will never get the reward in the end. Because let me tell you, you got your just reward right now. This is all you're going to get. Fair warning, people. Fair warning. Amen. Amen.